Hey friends, it's Sarah from She's Crafty and She Knows It, and today I'm going to show you how I made this little shaker zipper pouch. So I made several of these for my girls and they absolutely love them. They love them so much that now they're wanting me to make them for all their friends, for Valentine's Day gifts and birthday gifts and all the things. So I thought I would show you real quick how I made these. I know that it has a zipper, which can be a little bit intimidating if you're new to sewing, but I promise this is a beginner level project, so just hang with me. I am not a professional seamstress by any means, I promise. So this is going to be quick and easy, and you don't need to stress about anything. And I've found the easiest little supplies that I could use that if you don't have a fabric store super close, you could order online. So I will link all the supplies like always in the description below this video. But we're going to be starting with this 9-inch zipper. You can get a 12-inch zipper if that's easier for you to find, but 9 would be the shortest that you would want for sure. So this is a 9-inch zipper. I got it on Amazon. Like I said, I'll link it in the description below this video. This was like a 25 pack of just like different colors for really cheap. And then we'll be using, let me show you these acetate sheets. So instead of the vinyl that you need to go to the fabric store to buy, I got these acetate sheets on Amazon as well. And so we're going to be starting with our little zipper first. And then I went ahead and cut down some little fabric squares. So we're actually going to be doing like little zipper tabs on the ends, but we're going to do it super easy. Like I said, my goal is always to keep things as easy as possible and to keep it a beginner level so that everybody can enjoy this craft. So I've cut down these little squares of just scrap fabric. So hopefully you have some scrap fabric at home. If you don't even need scrap fabric. Let me show you. I made one without fabric and it worked fine. It's just the corners are more of the unfinished kind of zipper. Hopefully you can see that. So this is to kind of cover that zipper part at the end. So if you don't have fabric, it's okay. You could just do it without. But I think it looks a little bit more finished with. And so we're actually just going to kind of sew. I'm going to cut the zipper and make it a little bit shorter. And we're going to sew this right across here. The idea, just so you know where we're going with it, is to sew it across like this. Then we're going to fold it back like that. And sew like a finishing stitch across the top and kind of hide that end of the zipper, if that makes sense. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, I guess, and cut it a little bit, just honestly right past this. I want to get rid of this little metal clip so it's easier to sew. And so I'm going to cut right past that right here. Okay, and we're going to go ahead. I did not even measure these strips, y'all. It just needs to be wider than the width of the zipper. And this is a couple inches long. I'm telling y'all, I did not like measure everything. This is not super precise or anything, so you can make it whatever size you want. So we're going to go ahead and just sew. I'm going to come in a tiny bit like that. Sew a straight line right across here. So let me pull my sewing machine forward. Okay, y'all, I actually realized I was planning to use these little squares kind of for my zipper tabs, and I realized there's no front or back on them. It's kind of the same front and back, which makes it harder for me to show you how I'm doing it. So I'm actually going to switch fabric. I'm actually going to use this. That way it's really obvious what you need to do. And so you're going to have the zipper facing you. So this is like the top of the zipper. And what we're going to do is we're going to have this face down. So you're going to go face down like this on top of the zipper. And we're just going to sew straight across. So let's go ahead and sew. So like I said, the zipper is facing you. So you're doing the right sides together, the top sides together like that. So this is the back of the zipper and the back of the fabric. The right sides are facing each other. Okay, so we're going to go ahead. I already have it threaded with a bright blue thread. I kind of want to do contrasting colors. So obviously if you want to do white thread and make everything blend a little bit more, you can. I'm going to leave a little bit of zipper on this end right here. And we're going to go ahead and drop the foot down. I'm just doing a normal straight stitch. And we're just going to go, if I can get my foot pedal. Just going to go right across. I'm going to do a little bit of a back stitch in the beginning. And keep going. When you get to the other edge of the zipper, you can do another little back stitch. So now we have it. So now we have them sewn together like that. So that way when you fold it back like this, if I can fold it, it looks like that. So that way you're not going to see, you're going to see the top stitch but no other seam. So we're going to go ahead and fold it. So now of course you can go iron it if you want to. I'm honestly just going to kind of finger press it and then stitch it again. This does not need to be super professional by any means. So I'm going to go ahead and just fold it down flat again, and then you're going to do a top stitch right along this little fold. Okay, so it looks just like that. Okay, all we're going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and trim the extra down. So I know there's all these little crazy threads. Don't worry about that. I'm just going to trim the width of the zipper. My fabric got a little whopper jawed, but that's okay. Just like that. Okay, so once it's trimmed, it's going to kind of look like this. And that way when it's folded into the bag, it's just covering a little bit of the zipper, and you don't have to worry about so much bulk down there when you're sewing. Okay, so now we're going to do, so now we have our little tab right there. And all we're going to do is do the exact same thing on this end down here. So for this end, I'm going to unzip the zipper a little bit. I'm actually going to also get rid of this little bulky end right here. With this end, since the zipper is right here, you really want to make sure that you're keeping the teeth together, because if you sew it, let me show you. If you sew it like this and the teeth are really far apart, obviously once you do this part, it's not going to be able to zip because they're going to be sewn so far apart. So what we're going to do is we're going to take some tape. I just have like regular Scotch tape. Tear a little piece off. We're going to actually put these ends together right here, the little metal clips. Hopefully you can see that. I can't tell if it's focusing or not. You're going to put them together as close as you can. We're going to tape it. Like that. Does not have to be perfect. We're going to get another piece. And we're going to come down below where we're going to sew. So I'm going to sew about right here and put another piece to kind of keep those teeth together down there. That way we know they're not like spreading out while you're sewing. Okay, so that should be good. So I'm going to put the right side facing down, and we're going to sew right across there. So remember, back of the zipper, back of the fabric, the right sides are facing each other. And we're going to sew just a straight line. Now, every now and then it'll have a hard time kind of moving the actual zipper, so you might have to like kind of grab the little end of the zipper to kind of help the sewing machine feed it along. And back stitch a tiny bit, cut it. Okay, so there we have it. Now we're going to fold it over this way, and we're going to do our top stitch. Like I said, I'm not ironing it with an ironing machine. You definitely can. If you are giving this as a gift and you want it to look super professional, you might, you can measure more than I am and iron and do all the things. My girls just love them as is, and the fun part about it is kind of like I'm using all the bright colors and mixing and matching, and it's not perfect stitching. And for me, it's good enough for them to like it or love it. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it, and I'm gonna back stitch right at the edge of where the zipper fabric kind of catches. And like I said, you might have to help it kind of move along. Sometimes it can be a little stubborn going over the zipper area. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to turn it over and cut again. Don't worry about all the threads yet. We're just going to cut the width of the zipper. So just cut the fabric down. Like that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and cut off this extra zipper. It was nice to have the extra there to kind of keep the teeth lined up. And then I'm going to take this tape off of this part. We don't need that tape anymore. Okay, and then you can cut, I have some tiny little scissors somewhere, but I don't know where, so you can cut the little tiny threads. I'm going to go grab my tiny scissors. Okay, so this kind of gives you an idea. So now we have a fully functioning zipper. When it's zipped all the way, there's no gaps in the zipper. So remember, let me show you. This was another zipper pouch I made but it's kind of like awkward. It was hard to sew up to the zipper. This is the first one that I made. And then there's kind of gaps at the end of the zipper. So like right here, so the zipper zips all the way to the end. And then hopefully you can see that. There's kind of like a little like gap there. It's not wanting to focus, I don't think. And same on the other end. There's a little bit of a gap as well. It still turned out really cute, but I think this will make it better and it's not that hard of a step to add. So now we have our zipper ready to go and we're gonna move on to the next step. Okay, so for the next part, I actually have these acetate sheets that I bought online. I will link these in the description below this video as well. But that way you don't have to go to the fabric store to get vinyl or anything. You can just use these. So I'm going to be using 2 sheets just for the one pouch. Okay, and so for my first sheet of acetate, I have it laid out right here and I have my little zipper. Now obviously I've cut the zipper down and then I've added some fabric to it. And so it's a different size than it was when I started. And so right now the zipper looks to be about 7.5 inches. So I think I'm gonna cut the acetate to 9 inches. So if I cut the acetate right here like this at 9 inches, that will leave 3/4 of an inch of fabric on each side. So you could do 1/2 inch if you want, but we're gonna do 3/4 for this one today. So I'm gonna cut my acetate sheets to 9 by 6. The sheets are actually 12 by 12. And so to get the 6 inches, oopsies, sorry, I hit the camera. So to get the 12 inches, we can just cut it in half the first time. So slide it down. Let's get my sewing machine back a little bit. So I'm going to slide it down. It's kind of hard to see because it's clear. Right to the 6, right there. And we're going to go ahead and cut this. Sometimes I do that and it's not perfect, so I'm just going to check real quick that they are identical in height, and they are. Okay, so that's 6 inches. Now we're going to go ahead and do 9. Mine is right there. Just keep checking once you cut it. The clear stuff moves so much, so that's good. So that's 2 6 by 9. I'm going to go ahead and take my other sheet and go ahead and cut it down to 6 by 9 as well. That way I'll have all my sheets already cut and ready. You can just set your extra scrap to the side and you can use it next time you make another one. 6 by 9. Just double check while you have all your sheets, line them up to make sure they're all the exact same. Okay, so right now I have 3 sheets that are 6 by 9. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna move my little ruler over to the side. Honestly, y'all, the zipper part is, to me, the hardest part of the whole thing, and we've already done that part. So the rest of the part, to me, is pretty fun. So you're gonna take 2 of the clear sheets, stack them up where they line up perfectly, just like this. It's hard to tell that I have 2, but I have 2 sheets right here. You're gonna line them up perfectly, and we're actually gonna sew 3 sides all the way around, just like that, and we're gonna leave one side open. So I have my sewing machine all threaded up. I'm actually gonna do a zigzag stitch. Let me change it right now. Okay, so I'm gonna do zigzag, and I'm gonna do zigzag stitch on 3 sides. So now if you have clips, like those little Wonder clips, you can use those. My Wonder clips are buried in a cubby somewhere, so I'm just gonna hold it together. You could tape sides together if you need to. I've done pretty well just holding it together, honestly. Okay, so I'm pretty much gonna follow right along at 1/4 of an inch, maybe a tiny bit over, but I'm gonna try and stay pretty close to 1/4 of an inch for kind of the seam allowance. So that's just saying how far in you're stitching. So if I wanted to really, if you can see that, go way over, you could do that. So I kind of have like a little guide. It's like a white line. You can even do the edge of the sewing foot right here, sewing machine foot if you want. Something that's easy to follow. There on mine has kind of a big white line right here. I'm honestly just going to follow that so that it's super easy for me to keep track of where I'm going. Okay. Now, sometimes this is really slippery. Obviously, sometimes it kind of has a hard time going. So if it does, you might have to kind of switch and like pull it with this hand. But let's go ahead and get started. Okay, when you think you're getting close to the corner, I kind of start doing like the hand crank on the side to be able to tell where I am. And then with the needle down, so the needle is in the material, I lift the foot and kind of pivot it like that. It looks like I could go a little bit, one more stitch. Hold on one second. Pivot it. You want to get it as close to being where you need it. So I'm going to kind of scoot it over. I use the hand crank part a lot for the corners to kind of get them lined up. Just remember that if you're trying to pivot and do things, you want the needle to be down unless you're trying to move where the needle is. Okay, so now we're just going to go across the bottom part. Okay, I'm going to pick it up and pivot it. Now, I should have pointed this out earlier. I'm doing zigzag. I think it looks really fun. I kind of like, let me get my other pouch. I kind of like all the stitching, and I know it kind of overlaps and it's funky looking. I kind of like that. If you want it to be cleaner cut, you can obviously just do a straight stitch on here. But this part I did zigzag and then the rest will be straight. And so I'll show you how to look at the end. Obviously it's up to you, but I think it's kind of fun having more stitching, especially when you're doing stitching that's like a different color to kind of stand out. It's fun to have more of it. Okay, let's do the last side up. Now you don't want to go all the way to the top. We're going to go a little bit because we're going to do one stitch across with the same seam allowance. So leave a little bit of a space like that. I'm not going to backstitch yet because I'm still going to do one more stitch across the top. So now we have, let me put my sewing machine back. Okay, so now we have our little pouch, has 3 sides done, and I'm going to dump some little confetti in it. So I have this little bag of hearts. It's really cute. I'll try to link some different options below, but these hearts were really cute. So we're just going to dump a bunch in. Okay, so see if you have enough for your liking. So kind of hold that open side closed and try to kind of shake it. Okay, I put a lot in there, maybe more than I need, but it looks super cute. So we're gonna go ahead and stitch the top close now. I'm still gonna do the zigzag stitch for the top. Let me pull the sewing machine closer. So make sure none of your threads are have gone inside the plastic. Sometimes these little loose ends will go inside the plastic, so make sure they're on the outside. All we're gonna do is line it up and do one last zigzag stitch. See, this threads are kind of going everywhere. Okay, so we're just gonna line it up and do one last little stitch. So keep your same seam allowance that you had before. And we're just gonna go straight across, keeping the edges lined up as much as we can. Okay, and pull it, cut it. And so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna actually, I like to go ahead and knot these off. And so instead of doing the back stitch and making it really overwhelmed with stitches in the corners, I just kind of don't do the back stitch and go ahead and tie the knots. And so this is just the end of where we finished on when we went around all 3 corners like this. It left the beginning stitch over here of the 3 corners and the ending stitch up here. And then our last stitch left a beginning and end. So it kind of leaves a nice little 2 threads on each of these corners that you can kind of tie off. So I'm going to go ahead and tie those in knots real quick. Okay, so now everything is knotted off really nicely. I'm going to go ahead and cut the little loose ends with some little scissors. Okay, so here is our little pouch with all the confetti in it. And that's the really fun part of the zipper pouch. So we finished that part. Now all we have to do is attach everything to the zipper. So what I'm going to do is I have my zipper right here. I'm going to go ahead and have the zipper laid out. I like to use this little crafter's tape just like this and put just a couple of tiny dots. You don't have to do it along the whole thing. I just do like a tiny little dot there and a tiny little dot at the end. And this is going to kind of hold the plastic down. You can even kind of rub it in. You don't really want it so much that it's going to be seen. And we're going to go ahead and center this right over top. Let me just get my ruler. I think we had said 3/4 of an inch over. So about like there. Okay, we're gonna go about like that. Try to stick it down to where the tape is. If you can find where you put the little tape, try to stick it down. This will just help hold it so that we can sew it. It does not have to be perfect. Okay, now that I have the zipper kind of taped to the shaker pouch part, I'm actually going to change the little foot on my sewing machine. And so for mine, there's a little lever in the back that you just push. It's this little black thing right back here. You can see that. You just push it and the foot falls off, and then you can change feet. So I'm going to change it to the little zipper foot. This is what it looks like. Mine came with one. I think a lot of sewing machines come with one. So this is what it looks like. I'll try to link some you can buy in case yours doesn't come with one. You do not have to use this. It just makes it a little bit easier. And so I'm going to go ahead and attach it. It has two spots you can attach it. And so let me show you. You can attach it on this side right here or on this side. I'm going to attach it on the left side. Okay, so to reattach it, you want this bar right here, right there, is going to go up in this groove. And so you kind of have to hold it like that. And then you're going to push the lever in the back at the same time. So I know my hand is kind of in the way. So you kind of have to get it under there. Some attach differently. So just how mine does it. And while you're holding it, push the lever in the back and lift it up into there and it'll attach. So hopefully that makes sense. Just check your manual and check and see if you already had one. I already had one. I didn't even know that I had one. I checked like a month ago and it's like, oh, I already have the zipper foot. So check and see if you have one. And then it's pretty easy to pop on and off. If you don't have your manual, check Google or YouTube and see if you can figure out how to attach them. But I think a lot of the machines have these little lever in the back that you push. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and get this lined up right here. So the idea with the zipper foot is that it kind of gives it a little bit more space to sew, and you also just want to go straight along the edge of the zipper. I'm going to do the normal stitch, not zigzag. So let me switch that over. On my sewing machine, you can also move your needle. Hopefully you can see that this is the center. You can move it to the right. You can move it to the left. I'm going to move it to the left just to get it a little bit closer to the edge. You could do it centered if you really need to. A lot of the problem is kind of this confetti. Let me see if I can actually shake it down. Okay, there's still kind of a lump, but I got part of them down. And so we're going to go ahead and drop the foot down. And we're just going to stitch a straight line. I'm going to do kind of the edge of the foot right along the edge of the zipper. And like I said, you can move your needle alignment over so it's over a little bit to the left, or you can leave it centered. I might have moved it over more than I really need to. I just kind of want to stitch right along the top of the zigzag stitch. If you want to stitch it over the zigzag, you can. I just kind of want to do right along the top of it. And so that should be pretty good. Okay, and we're going to start about back here at the edge of where the acetate is. And let's go ahead and get started. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and drop the needle down. I know already this is going to be hard to go around, and so I'm going to try to lift the foot up with the needle down like that. Pull the zipper. I'm going to try and pull it. There we go. Okay, drop the foot back down. Make sure your plastic is still, the acetate is still lined up where you need it. Keep going. Okay, so now we have sewn right there the acetate to the zipper. So that looks really good. Now we're going to go ahead and do the other side. So I'm going to scoot my sewing machine back a little bit. And so just like how we did and we kind of taped along here with some crafter's tape, we're going to do that, and then we have our plain side. So remember the one we cut earlier when we cut 3 pieces? So we're going to go ahead and tape that right along here, and we're going to sew that one on as well. And now you want to kind of line them up the best that you can. Okay, I got it really nice and lined up. We're going to go ahead and move the sewing machine back over. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put this back in there and sew it again. Put the needle down and lift the foot up, and then kind of pivot it a little bit to kind of move the zipper back. Drop the foot again, and you can finish up. Okay, so now what we have is kind of the whole thing is sewn, but the sides are not attached. And so all we need to do is attach the 2 sides down together. But first we want to go ahead and get rid of all these inside threads that are kind of in the way and making it look unfinished. So go ahead and cut the threads off that are on the inside. I'm going to flip it over. Okay, I'm going to leave the top threads for now because I might want to go ahead and tie off the corners when I stitch it. So what we're going to do is we want all the sides to line up, and we're going to stitch all the way around the whole thing with a straight stitch, and this will close the bag up. So since we did those little zipper tabs, the top right here is just fabric and it's not zipper at the very edge, which makes it so much easier to deal with. It's still bulky, but it's much easier than the zipper being up there. So you kind of want to get, let's see if I can lift it a little bit higher. Okay, honestly, I have everything all lined up. I'm going to drop the needle down without the foot being quite down because it's having a hard time catching it. So let's see, I'm going to drop the needle down, and then I'm going to drop the foot. And I'm going to do a couple hand stitched ones if I can get it to move along. The top corner is going to be the hardest. Okay, I'm going to back stitch, and then I'm going to see if I can get it to keep moving along. Let's see, I'm going to pick up the foot. And now remember, I'm stitching right along the edge of the zigzag stitch was kind of my goal. And I'll keep holding it real firm. I'm going to get to the corner and pivot it like this. Drop the foot down. Now, if for some reason one side's longer than the other, we can always trim up the extra acetate, so don't freak out if something's a little bit whopper-jawed. We're going to keep going down. I'm going to follow right along that zigzag. I didn't want mine overlapping. If you want yours overlapping, that's totally okay. I'm kind of trying to do this, the bottom straight stitch right at the bottom of the zigzag. I'm using my backhand to kind of pull the acetate along if it feels like it's kind of getting slippery or getting stuck. When you get to the edge, put the needle down, lift up the foot, and pivot it. This is our last little side. I'm going to go and do the first one by hand. There we go. Okay, now we're going to go straight up to the top. I'm really close to the edge, so I'm really having to watch that I don't get too close and go off the edge. So keep going. I'm going to go right up to the top of the acetate as far as I can. Come on. And then back stitch it. It'll let me kind of stuck. Let's see. Okay, so there we go. That looks so cute. Okay, so all we're going to do now is I kind of have some loose threads in the corners. I'm going to go ahead and tie those into really good knots, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so now everything is all stitched. All we have to do is cut off this extra fabric from the little zipper tabs and we are gonna be done. So get your fabric scissors and just go ahead and cut off these little extra. You wanna cut it off right in line with the acetate. If you have fray check or anything like that, you can definitely use fray check on the ends of the fabric. But this way from the top, look how professional it looks as far as the zipper opening. There's no gaps in the zipper anywhere from the top. And then the zipper closes. It is fully functional, cute little pouch. So all of the little shaker parts on the front, the back is just clear like this. Oh, there's a piece of thread inside. So the back is clear and then the front has the little shaker and it is good to go. I love the mixing and matching of colors with the different color stitching, the confetti, and then the little zipper tabs at the top. Okay, friends, so that's it. That's how I made this super cute little shaker zipper pouch. Don't forget, I have all the supplies linked in the description below this video. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up and make sure you subscribe for more videos. Bye!
She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows it. She's crafty and she knows. She's crafty and she knows it.